Nike was never just a shoe company. It was a psychological weapon, and the day it stopped selling shoes, it started selling identity. How does a company convince millions of people to pay more for a logo than for the product itself? How does a simple swoosh become more powerful than the athlete wearing it? And what does it cost to build a brand that people tattoo on their skin? This is not the story of sneakers. This is the story of belief. In 1964, in a small apartment in Oregon, a former track athlete with a restless mind and a coach obsessed with speed decided they could beat giants. They had no factory, no marketing team, no global connections, just an idea that refused to stay small. Their names were Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman, and what they were about to build would not just change sports. It would change how humans see themselves. Nike, not a shoe company, a human experiment. Phil Knight wasn't born powerful. He was quiet, analytical, observant. He ran track at the University of Oregon. Not the fastest, not the strongest, but fascinated by performance. He watched how tiny adjustments, a lighter shoe, a different sole, a sharper spike, could change the outcome of a race. Most people see athletes. Phil saw margins. His coach, Bill Bowerman, was obsessed in a different way. He would tear apart shoes, burn them, melt them, rebuild them. He didn't just want athletes to run, he wanted them to fly. But here's what no one talks about. Neither of them were business geniuses. They were obsessed with improvement, and obsession is dangerous, because obsession doesn't stop when the market says no. Phil Knight had an idea after visiting Japan. Japanese shoes were cheaper, lighter, better value than German giants like Adidas. So he gambled. He convinced a Japanese manufacturer to let him distribute their shoes in America. He had no warehouse, so he sold them out of his car trunk. Think about that. The future of $1 billion empire sat in the back of a Plymouth Valiant. But something strange happened. Athletes didn't just buy the shoes, they talked about them. Why? Because Bowerman kept modifying them, tweaking soles, shaving grams. Then one morning, while making breakfast, Bowerman poured rubber into a waffle iron. He ruined the appliance, but he accidentally invented a sole pattern that gripped the track like nothing else before it. Innovation doesn't look clean in the beginning. It looks like a mess, and that waffle iron became the foundation of something much bigger. But success attracts pressure, and pressure reveals character. The brand wasn't even called Nike yet. It was Blue Ribbon Sports, and tension was building. Phil wanted growth. The Japanese supplier wanted control. When your entire business depends on someone else's factory, you don't own your future. So Phil did something terrifying. He cut ties. He decided to build his own brand. A risky move, almost suicidal. They needed a name. An employee suggested Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. Phil didn't even like it at first. But time doesn't wait for perfect decisions. They needed a logo. A young design student was paid $35 to create a simple curved line, the swoosh. Phil wasn't impressed. He said, "I don't love it, but it'll grow on me." And it did. Here's where the story changes. Nike stopped focusing on performance and started focusing on emotion. They realized something critical. Athletes don't buy shoes for comfort. They buy them for belief. So Nike didn't advertise products. They advertised potential. They didn't say, "Our shoe is lighter." They said, "You can be more." That shift from product to psychology is what built the empire. Because once a brand connects to your identity, it doesn't compete on price anymore. It competes on who you think you are. And in America, in the UK, in Europe, in Australia, where individuality is currency. Nike understood something before everyone else. Humans don't just want to win, they want to feel chosen. And Nike was about to give them that feeling. But to become a global empire, they needed a symbol, not a logo, a hero. And in the 1980s, they found him. In 1984, Nike was in trouble. Sales were slowing, Reebok was rising. The aerobics boom was reshaping the market. Nike had built its identity around runners. But the world was shifting to basketball. Flashier, louder, cultural, and Nike was not the favorite. In fact, when a young college athlete named Michael Jordan entered the NBA draft, he didn't even want to sign with Nike. He preferred Adidas. Nike wasn't cool enough. Let that sink in. The company that would later dominate global sports was once rejected by the very athlete who would define it. But Nike saw something others didn't. They weren't looking at statistics, they were looking at aura. Nike offered Jordan something unheard of, not just a contract, an entire shoe line. Air Jordan. No rookie had ever received that. And here's the terrifying part. Nike projected $3 million in sales over 3 years. They sold $126 million in the first year alone. But success didn't come from design alone. It came from rebellion. The NBA banned the original Air Jordans for not meeting uniform color rules. Nike didn't apologize. They paid the fines and turned it into marketing. Banned. They made restriction look like power. This was the moment Nike stopped selling footwear and started selling defiance. Something unusual was happening. Kids weren't buying Jordans to play basketball. They were buying them to walk into school differently. Nike had tapped into identity economics. When you wear Nike, you don't just wear rubber and leather, you wear a statement. And in the United States, where self-expression is everything, that statement became currency. In the UK, it became street culture. In Europe, it became aspiration. In Australia, it became attitude. Nike wasn't exporting shoes, it was exporting mindset. But rapid growth hides cracks, and cracks always widen. By the late 1980s, Nike was everywhere, too everywhere. The market was saturated, competition intensified, inventory piled up, stock price dropped nearly 50%. And then came the worst blow, criticism over overseas labor conditions. Factories in Asia, low wages, harsh environments. The swoosh, once a symbol of victory, was now being questioned. Was Nike empowering athletes or exploiting workers? For the first time, the brand's moral foundation was under attack. And here's the brutal truth. A brand built on inspiration cannot survive accusation. Trust is oxygen, and Nike was suffocating. Phil Knight did something unexpected. He didn't deny, he pivoted. Nike doubled down on transparency, audits, public accountability, supply chain reforms, but more importantly, they shifted the narrative again, from winning to personal struggle. In 1988, 3 simple words changed everything. Just do it. Not win, not be the best, just do it. It wasn't about beating others anymore. It was about beating yourself. And that message was universal. Just do it wasn't a slogan. It was cognitive permission. Permission to try, permission to fail, permission to begin. Nike understood human physiology better than most corporations. When you hear "just do it," your brain doesn't process complexity. It processes action. No debate, no hesitation, movement. Nike aligned itself with the neurological trigger of momentum. And momentum is addictive. By the early 1990s, Nike was no longer competing in the shoe industry. It had created a new category, motivation. But motivation is volatile, and power always invites resistance. Because once a company influences identity, it begins to influence culture. And when culture shifts, politics follows. And Nike was about to step into territory far bigger than sports. By the 1990s, the war was global. Nike in America, Adidas in Europe. Two philosophies. Adidas represented heritage, precision, football legacy. Nike represented disruption, attitude, basketball culture. This wasn't just market competition, it was cultural tension. Europe valued tradition, America valued reinvention. Nike didn't try to become European, it amplified its American identity. Bold, loud, fearless, and strangely, that's exactly what made Europe pay attention. Because even cultures rooted in history are fascinated by rebellion. Nike understood something most companies missed. People don't remember product features, they remember stories. So Nike didn't sponsor athletes, it mythologized them. Michael Jordan became gravity-defying legend. Serena Williams became resilience personified. Tiger Woods became dominance embodied. Cristiano Ronaldo became obsession refined. Nike wasn't saying, wear this shoe. It was saying, wear their mentality. When you buy Nike, you borrow greatness, and humans are wired to seek proximity to power. It's biological. We align with winners because it feels safer, because evolution rewards strength. Nike turned evolutionary psychology into marketing. But then, Nike crossed a line few brands dared to approach. In 2018, they featured Colin Kaepernick in a campaign, an athlete who had knelt during the national anthem. To some, he represented courage. To others, disrespect. Nike knew this would divide. They ran the campaign anyway. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. The backlash was immediate. Shoes burned in protest. Boycotts trended. Stock dropped. Critics said Nike had gone too far. But something else happened. Sales surged. Online engagement exploded. Nike wasn't trying to please everyone. It was choosing a side. And in modern culture, clarity is stronger than neutrality. Most companies fear controversy. Nike studied it. They understood generational psychology. Younger consumers don't want safe brands. They want aligned brands, brands that reflect their values. Nike realized something bold. Loyalty today is not built on comfort. It's built on conviction. By taking a stand, Nike strengthened emotional bonds. Because when a brand risks something, it feels human. And humans trust vulnerability more than perfection. By the late 2000s, Nike was no longer reacting to culture. It was shaping it. Sneakers became collectibles. Limited drops created scarcity psychology. Lines formed overnight. Resale markets exploded. Nike mastered anticipation. They didn't flood supply. They engineered desire. And desire grows stronger when access is limited. Scarcity activates dopamine. The brain treats rare items as higher value. Nike wasn't just producing shoes, it was producing craving. But dominance has shadows. Hypergrowth pressures factories. Celebrity partnerships inflate expectations. Social media amplifies every mistake. And in a digital world, brands are watched constantly. One misstep can go viral in minutes. The same internet that built Nike's mystique could dismantle it overnight. And here's the paradox. When you build a brand on identity, any attack feels personal. Consumers don't just criticize the company, they defend it or attack it emotionally. Nike had become something fragile, not because it was weak, but because it was powerful, and power always magnifies consequence. By 2020, a new threat emerged. Not Adidas, not Reebok, not even politics. It was digital transformation, direct-to-consumer sales, e-commerce wars, data-driven personalization. Nike had to evolve again, because in a world where algorithms decide attention, brand mythology alone is not enough. The question wasn't, can Nike sell shoes? The question was, can Nike remain relevant when culture moves faster than ever? And history shows, every empire faces a moment where momentum slows. Nike was approaching that moment. By the early 2020s, Nike faced a quiet reality. Foot traffic was declining. Retail partnerships were unstable. The world was moving online. So Nike made a radical decision. It cut ties with major retailers. It pulled products from Amazon. It doubled down on direct-to-consumer. Apps, data, personalized recommendations, member-only releases. Nike stopped asking stores to sell its products. It started building its own ecosystem. Because when you control distribution, you control narrative. And when you control data, you control behavior. Nike's apps weren't just shopping tools. They were tracking tools, training data, purchase history, behavior patterns. The more you ran, the more Nike learned. The more you browsed, the more Nike predicted. It wasn't invasive, it was invisible, and invisibility is the most powerful form of influence. Nike understood something modern companies are still learning. The future of branding is personalization at scale, not mass marketing, individual marketing. And when a brand speaks directly to you, it feels less like advertising and more like affirmation. But even giants stumble. Supply chain disruptions, pandemic uncertainty, changing consumer habits, and then leadership shifts. Phil Knight stepped back. A new generation took over, and transitions are dangerous because founders build culture, executives manage it. Nike had to prove that its identity was bigger than one man, and for a moment, investors hesitated. Because belief in a brand is often belief in its founder. Could Nike survive without the obsessive energy that created it? History has shown. Some companies can't. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Nike's real product was never rubber. It was aspiration. And aspiration doesn't age. It evolves. Every generation feels behind. Not strong enough. Not successful enough. Not visible enough. Nike steps into that insecurity and whispers, just do it. It doesn't promise victory, it promises possibility, and possibility is the most addictive substance on earth, because humans can survive without certainty, but they cannot survive without hope. Nike sells hope. So what is Nike today? A corporation? A cultural architect? A marketing machine? A mirror? When you lace up a pair of Nikes, are you chasing fitness or are you chasing identity? Did Nike create champions or did it create consumers who believe they are one purchase away from becoming extraordinary? And here's the deeper question. If motivation can be branded, who controls ambition? When companies influence how we see ourselves, where does personal drive end and corporate design begin? Nike didn't force anyone. It inspired them. But inspiration, when repeated at scale, becomes infrastructure. And infrastructure shapes society. In 1964, a man sold shoes from the trunk of his car. He wasn't chasing dominance. He was chasing improvement. Decades later, that same pursuit turned into a global empire. But every empire carries weight. Every symbol carries responsibility. And every brand that embeds itself into human identity eventually faces the same question. Are we empowering people or engineering them? Nike built an empire on desire, and desire is powerful, but it is never neutral. The swoosh still moves forward, still signals motion, still whispers possibility. But somewhere, right now, another founder is selling something small, from a garage, from a laptop, from a dorm room. Obsessed, unnoticed, watching, and studying Nike. Because the next empire isn't trying to copy the shoe, it's trying to copy the belief. And belief, when mastered, outlives everything.